Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, we're doing this. I got a lot of views on the last Decibel vid, but I don't think I'm gonna get as many now. So 'cause I don't think I can do this in one vid. So, but there's a lot more I can say about this one. They cover a lot of the bands that I remember in this, the ones that are still going strong, in particular, like Deicide. I remember I bought the cassette, the debut. Didn't even know what they sounded like. Didn't even know what the hell. If you remember when the album came out back in, was it 1990 or 89, they had that weird cool looking like demon door knocker, and they actually had Roadrunner Records actually had a definition of what the hell is deicide. Okay. The only other time I heard deicide mentioned was in what was that? Oh man, I forget. The Lost Valley, that movie about the 30 Years War with Michael Caine, had mentioned deicide, which of course is the killing of you know who, right? God. Okay. Oh, so you know who sometimes gets a little scary saying that, But regardless, that album was crazy, death metal classic. But like I said, I can talk a lot more because there's a lot more bands in here that I know of. So, of course, the first three Deicide albums were the best. The first one, Legion, the demo one when they were called Amon was good. I remember. And it was Kerry King has a solo album. Oh, I didn't know that. So, I remember this band Midnight. They were like a black and roll band. I had the debut. I lost it. I know you're like, what do you lose? You keep saying you lose all these albums. What the hell? So I moved around a lot, okay? And they're selling pickups, right? British Steel, Glenn Tipton, Vengeance set. Interesting. You know me, my guitar tone, if it's terrible, I consider that a compliment, like the meme. So here in the editorial, and they're bringing up about Deicide, right? They bring up the different, the original Deicide, the Hoffman brothers, who are now he's estranged from. Of course, Glenn Benton. Remember, he burned a cross in his forehead. Only my old school metal people remember Metal Maniacs, right? Metal Maniacs magazine. Catherine Ludwig became the editor. She would not interview him because she didn't like that he killed a squirrel during an interview with a pellet gun, and so she would never put him in. And then she started making a whole list of people that she would never interview. And black metal, when it was still in its underground phase and was making its thing. No, oh, I'm not covering black metal. They're all racists. Remember that? Remember that, guys? Anyway, and they bring up, of course, the big thing here is in April in Philly at the Metal and Beer Fest. Okay, I noticed a lot of the me and my buddy Nero were talking about metal. I don't know how to say this. The hipsterization of metal. Listen, beer. We love beer, right? But these guys are from the magazine's from Philly, and there's a real kind of like hipster thing going on. I mean, well, I like beer and I like some hipster beer, but that's not the point. Okay, going through, like for example, like did this here. Look at this. Hey, you want to see an original thing in 2024? Look at this. Hey, dude, you ever listen to Priest? Oh, look, you got the Christian Zealot. So, oh, very clever. Like it's 1980, like it's 1990. Like Priest is on trial again. So it shows you. Right? You think when things become establishment, right? Okay, and they still get locked into this. Okay, this guy would have a rainbow flag now. Right? But of course, the new Priest album. I was in a beer distributor the other day, one of the ones I go to, and the guys always play music. Usually they play like Dropkick Murphys in there, but some guy was playing the new cuts from the new Priest album. It was good, man. It was good. As I was trying to decide between what beer to get, listening to the new Priest. Judas Priest is the best, probably the top live band I've ever seen. I've seen them 3 times. Okay, and you're gonna see a thing with that. When I think of all the live bands I've seen, all the concerts I've been to, the best ones, the most memorable. Oh, here we go. Okay, forget it. The ones you remember the best. Okay? Were always the bands that were from the 70s and who had toured in the 70s and 80s, like more than half the year. Those were always the most oh my god, the ones you remember the most. Jesus Christ, you're laughing at me. Don't laugh at me. So having a speech impediment. Baltimore. Oh, careful. So you go to Maryland Death Fest. Of course, the famous Maryland Death Fest. But of course, this you always see this. They really mention this a lot. This thing, right? This thing. Of course, in their regards of trying to get people from overseas to play these shows, you had a lot of things. Okay. Apparently, not all these people wanted to get, get the jab. Apparently, I can't imagine why. So Arch Goat is such an underrated band. Okay, black metal, but like with low vocals. Right? So I'm talking about something with COVID. Whatever. I don't say that. I don't say that word. Right? The vid, Carpathian Forest, Dismember. I'm just Soylent Green. Remember them? Swedish stuff. Forbidden. Remember Forbidden? Anyway, I'm just remember you're gonna hear it a lot. So speaking of this. Ministry, oh, who cares, man? Now listen, man, mind is a terrible thing to taste. And the New World Order album, what was that album called? Probably was. They were great. Okay, they had their day. Okay, and this stuff. Let me guess, Al, you don't like Trump. I'm gonna take a guess at that. Meanwhile, Exhorter. I remember back in the days when a lot of the stuff I had was people making tapes for me. I had a cassette. One side was Entombed, Left Hand Path, and the other side was Exhorter's first album, Slaughter in the Vatican. And I only bring up Exhorter for one reason. If you listen to that album, and then you listen to another band in the same city, New Orleans, that came out around the same time, or they were around before, but their album came out in the same year. Okay. And I love Pantera. Pantera was great, but you know what, man? They sounded a lot like Exhorter, man. I'm just saying. I think you know what I'm talking about. So, and apparently they have this guy. I've read some of his, usually flipping through this. I read some of his things. I'm not even going to talk about it. So there's some things you shouldn't. I'm going to say this. You can say fuck me or whatever. It's fine. There's some things you shouldn't, as a man, you shouldn't let people know about. Just saying. So there's things you keep to yourself. But more interestingly, look at this. So Decibel magazine, of course, there's a beer connection, but there's also a gaming connection. Well, it makes sense, right? And remember Dragon Force, man. Herman Lee. Remember, it's always funny when you hear a Chinese guy with a British accent. But they were great. I remember seeing them at the Ozfest. Dude, these guys they play so damn fast. The video with the Guitar Hero, remember? But they play so fast. It sounds like Nintendo music. So it's interesting. And apparently, though, to keep it digital in the digital realm, the rest of this article is not in print. You have to go online to the website. Herman Lee explains why video games need metal and vice versa. Interesting. They were great. Remember that song? When I saw them at Ozfest, man, everybody loved them. Everybody was doing the air guitar, Oh my God. I haven't heard of them recently, but man, I can imagine they've only gotten better. Yeah. So I'm going through here, some of these bands, new bands coming out. Prosthetic Records, I remember them. The Casia Strain was on there. So we got this band, Necrophobe. Oh, you look tough guys. They're so tough, but what is this? One was denied entry because he was not yet vaccinated for So that means the other guys did. Listen, but I'll never let that fucking shit drop. So enough. I have no more interest. Oh, Zombie, man. Yo. What was it? Steve Moore, AJ Patera. These guys are from Pittsburgh. This is the music. It's not metal at all. Okay, it's very much the soundtrack, like Goblin, Tangerine Dream. It's like the horror soundtrack music from the 70s. Okay, but not just the analog synths. Moore, I think, is a bass player, and Patera is a drummer. They laid down like a real nice. Real guitar, real bass guitar, real drum sound. What was that album? Constellations is still one of my favorite albums. And Coffins, I know that's a Japanese band. And I hate to say this. I know this doesn't sound cool. It always sounds cool to say you like integrity. I never dug integrity. Dwayne was a cool guy. I never dug them. I just never dug integrity. I don't know. All right, so there's coffins, and once again, we're mentioning this, although it is kind of weird, right? He's talking about the psyop here, right? The government's subsequent reactive approach sucked even more. People are still suffering from the effects of this poor response. He doesn't say what that is, though. Okay, it's interesting. There's been a lot of people suffering from the effects of that psyop all these years ago, but not in the way you think. Right? So, and I like how he mentions too, like our roots include Sabbath, Venom, Discharge, Amy Bex. Remember Amy Bex? Killing Joke, early earache bands. So I might check this out, but like I said, we're running out of time here. Going through. Okay. I like Iron Maiden. Okay. Bruce Dickinson's a great singer. A Number of the Beast. You know, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Great albums, right? Very talented man. I like the first two albums a little better though, and I'll never forget at Ozfest years ago, the way this guy acted, the unprofessional way that he acted, he's yelling and cursing at the audience, okay, who were cheering for him and had energy. Everybody was into Maiden. Everybody was happy. He was cursing out the American audience. Okay, now you know me. There's no one more anti-American than me. Okay, but that really rubbed me the wrong way. Okay, and I never forgot that. So I don't even give a shit about whatever he's going on about. So I fucking mean that. So you son of anyway. Shh. Come on. And Midnight. This is like the black and roll stuff. Okay, which you could argue is just going back to Venom, but I remember the first album. These are pretty cool, really cool. So not really much here. Just talking about the typical thing where the guy's like, we're gonna be raw, but we're gonna try something different, but still be, that kind of stuff. But I don't know what happened to that album. I don't know what happened. Okay, and I think Rob, how now as a counterpoint to Mr. Dickinson, okay, Mr. Halford, no, that's not James LaFont. Let me show James that picture when he's here. The opposite, total classy gentleman, okay, professional, okay. The Priest was the best band I've ever seen live in my life. The 3 times I've seen them in 1990, in I think 93, and in 2004. Okay, the best band I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and now pretty much decimated. Glenn Tipton has Parkinson's. It's really horrible. KK's out of the group. I guess Ian Hill's still there. I don't know who the drummer is. And of course Rob is there. And Rob is just a total gentleman. Like British gentility, right? So, and they're talking about stuff. Yeah, it's just interesting, I like this. I like what he says. Like Glenn with Parkinson's, and the new guitar has a heart problem. Man, you never give up. You never give in. You never surrender. That's true, man. Right. God knows, and he even mentions Parkinson's is gonna affect your guitar playing. God knows how he deals with that. It's like if I woke up and I couldn't sing, I don't know what I'd do. Right? So a very classy guy, and also, I didn't realize it in the 80s, right? I mean, we didn't realize he was gay, right? Or at least some people didn't. But we other realized he had a really bad alcohol and drug problem. So, and still he was killing. I mean, those 80s Priest, he was still killing it, right? So, and I like what he mentions here about Priest. I mean, this is going back at this point. This new album, how many more albums are we going to get? The demographic shifted, right? Right, from rock and roller, Sad Wings of Destiny, right? We had, right, I mean, let's face it, we were still in the dark. This is when they're developing in 75, right? We had no templates, we had no reference points. He's talking about heavy metal, okay? We had some Hendrix, we had some Deep Purple, but we didn't really have what it is. What are the ingredients to make a heavy metal band? We were inventing the music as we went along. Okay, that's really, it's cool. He talks about how he did a duet with, remember Doro Pesh, Warlock, remember? Living After Midnight, and it's right, he recorded the vocals with Andy Sneap, the guy that produced my favorite Earth Crisis album, with a handheld, so he recorded it in a hotel, But they also did Total Eclipse of the Heart duet. Okay, remember that song, the pop song? Anyway, Running Out Here. And he talks about the things in his past, right? Yeah, always classy, man. Always a class act. Salute to Rob Halford, man. I don't care how to, oh, dude, come on, man. This is the metal god.